please rise and join me in the flag salute? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, faculty and distinguished guests, welcome to the graduation of the class of 1987. I stand before you a member of the class of 1987 and a person stricken with a debilitating disease. In fact, this disease has pervaded the entire class of 1987. The disease is senioritis. The cause? 12 years of formal schooling, but more significantly, 4 tough years at Beverly Hills High School. The symptoms? Forgetting when your classes start, forgetting where your classes are, forgetting that you have a class, being mysteriously attracted to the beach, and a tendency to go to bed when the rest of the world wakes up. The prognosis? A regression toward a Neanderthal-like state of thinking. The cure for this devastating disease is graduation. Although senioritis tends to annoy both teachers and parents alike, one can perceive this as just another phase in our lives. Like a caterpillar that builds a cocoon and remains stagnant until it bursts from its shell into a beautiful technicolor butterfly that frees itself from the dependence of the ground. College scene, full of life, full of color, manifesting our own independence from our parents. Like a butterfly that explores its environment with a new perspective, we too will explore our surroundings from a different perspective. To explore is nothing new to the class of 1987. We were born during a time when protesting against the Vietnam War was at its peak, and most of America was searching and exploring for its own identity. Today, the members of the class of 87 have found their identity, having blazed new trails by becoming the first class to win both Hello Day and Junior Senior Night 2 years in a row, by having the biggest prom ever in the history of Beverly Hills High School, and by being the first class to attend grad night at Disneyland. The excitement and spirit generated by our class and intensified by senioritis will inspire and motivate us to continue to explore the world around us. And only when we explore the world can we fully realize the potential value that can be gained from it. Thank you.
Our Southern California coast was discovered by a Portuguese explorer in 1542. In July of 1969, just about the time most of the members of this graduating class were born, man explored space by landing on the moon. These seemingly unrelated events in the exploration of Earth and space are fused together by this graduating class. One of the first explorers to reach the California coastline was the Portuguese explorer Juan Cabrillo. It is interesting that the word explore in English would be translated into Portuguese as explorar, which means to exploit, because to the early Portuguese navigators, the purpose of exploration was exploitation of the Earth's riches. We, the graduating class, will have to choose as we go through life between exploiting our world and exploring our world. We can exploit our world by adding to acid rain, polluting our waters, and hastening the extinction of animals such as the California condor. Or we can explore our world, contributing to the knowledge to prevent hunger throughout our world, eliminating diseases such as cancer and AIDS, and improving the quality of life. The choice is ours. 1987 is not only our graduating year, it is also the bicentennial of the U.S. Constitution, a document which has served as a roadmap in the exploration of liberty and freedom. 1987 is also the anniversary of the Northwest Ordinance of 1787, a 5-state compact which guaranteed free public education to its inhabitants, a concept exemplified in the paradigm by Beverly Hills High School. My paternal grandfather, when he emigrated to America, shed tears upon receiving a free pencil and a free notebook when he enrolled in a public school to learn English. We, at Beverly Hills High School, have received not only books, but have received the finest laboratory equipment, electronic equipment, computers, teachers, and administrators of any school in America. Hopefully, these items will give us the incentive to move forward in our quest for knowledge. Most, if not all, of this graduating class were born within a matter of months of man's historic moon landing. Our parents observed that moon landing from every continent on this earth. Our parents' love of peace and security and their search for a better world for us has brought us together to this city and to this school. We understand and realize that just as the world of space exploration has its moments of joy and pride, it also has its moments of tears and sad reflection. We know that our preparation for life, which we received here at Beverly Hills High School from our teachers, in our homes from our parents and family, and from our classmates, has prepared us to accept with dignity the joys of success, such as the moon landing, and to accept equally with dignity the low points, such as the recent Challenger tragedy, so that each experience will help us to explore our world. A contemporary journalist observed, "The highs are highest, the lows lowest. It's the first time and the last time and forever." Although adolescence has never been tougher, with all-time high numbers of teenage runaways, pregnancies, and suicides, some things will never change. Kids fall in love, rock out, crave junk food, sleep late, take risks, comb hair, hang out, and just stand in front of mirrors, spellbound by our own changing bodies and turbulent internal landscapes. 1 month ago, a young Canadian named Rick Hansen completed a 45,000-mile trip around the world. Rick Hansen is a paraplegic who circled the Earth through Russia, China, Europe, Australia, and across the United States and Canada in a wheelchair which he propelled solely with his arms in a successful effort to raise $15 million for medical research. At the end of his historic 45,000-mile wheelchair journey, he gave the assembled crowd a message which summed up his 2 years' experience. He said, "Go after your dreams. Strive to be the best you can with what you have. We all have hopes and dreams. We all have potential." He concluded with 7 words which describe not only his 2-year journey, but also apply to this graduating class. He said, "The finish line is only the beginning." Today marks the beginning of our exploration of the world. We have been trained and educated here at Beverly Hills High School to follow the path of exploration rather than exploitation. This class of 1987 dedicates itself to exploring our world, to make it a better place to live, to improving, not exploiting our environment, and exploring new ways to perpetuate the freedoms granted by our Constitution. We thank our constitutional system for providing us with free, equal opportunity, and quality education. We thank our teachers, administrators, and parents for providing us with the tools and skills which we'll need to navigate as we explore our world. Thank you.
Sometimes I wonder where I've been, who I am, do I believe? Make believing is hard to know. I will be on my own. We're always proving who we are. Always reaching for that rising star to guide me far and shine me home. I will be on my own. When I'm down and feeling blue, I close my eyes so I can be with you. Oh, baby, be strong for me. Baby, belong to me. Help me through. Help me need you. Sometimes I wonder where I've been, who I am, do I think? I mean, I may not win every time out here on my own. Out here on my Sing my body back then. I celebrate the meal to come. I toast to my own reunion, and I become with the fall. And I look back on Venus, I look back on Mars, and I'll burn with the fire of 10 billion stars. And in time, we will all be stars.
I sing the body electric. I glory in the glow of rebirth, creating my own tomorrow when I shall embody the earth.
And I'll serenade Venus, I'll serenade Mars, and I'll burn with the fire of 10 billion stars. And in time, we will all be stars. We are the emperors now, and we
Worlds to explore is clearly a theme with any number of interpretations. As I began to think about what, from my perspective, are the worlds that we, the graduating class of 1987, will have the challenge and responsibility to explore, it occurred to me that to have the time and the freedom with which to even investigate this subject is a first world luxury. At a time when our brothers and sisters in the Middle East, in Latin America, in the Soviet Union, and yes, even in America, not but 5 miles from here in south central Los Angeles, are concerned solely with survival in such a fundamental sense. I feel fortunate to have the luxury to question and consider the many worlds that lay before us to explore. When we think of worlds to explore, space immediately comes to mind. In large part, this is probably because it's natural to look far away from home to find answers to the most difficult questions. When our planet faces such catastrophic problems as overpopulation, hunger, the threat of a nuclear war, and international terrorism, to name a few, our inclination is to look to a new world to rectify the problems we have created in the old. This is important. We should always be looking for new frontiers in which to explore. But as tomorrow's world leaders, in considering the worlds that are crucial for us to explore, we are hard-pressed to overlook the obvious. And what is the obvious? We don't need to travel hundreds of thousands of miles in desperate need of exploration. In fact, we don't need to look much further than our backyard. I would be willing to bet that all of us can point to one, if not several people in our lives who are somehow afflicted by one of the many ills that plague our society. Perhaps we know someone dying of AIDS or cancer, or has already died. Maybe a dear friend abuses drugs or alcohol. Perhaps we know somebody who feels so alone and so helpless that they have contemplated, if not attempted, suicide. We have probably all faced discrimination of some kind, whether we're black or white, male or female, too young or too old. Perhaps we know that somebody's poverty-stricken, and if not, we read about it every day in the newspaper. All of these challenges are incredibly pervasive in our society, but by no means are they hopeless. There are so many potential solutions to investigate, so many ways for all of us to play a role in finding answers to these difficult questions. I believe the first step we can take is simply to care. Maybe caring is easier than we think. Isn't it possible that caring is as basic a thing as remembering some of the most fundamental lessons we learned in kindergarten? The lessons we all take for granted. For instance, share everything, play fair, clean up your own mess, say sorry when you hurt somebody, always flush, don't take candy from strangers, look both ways before you cross the street, and hold hands and stick together. Think of how much better our world would be if we all had cookies and milk every afternoon and then lay down for a nap. Or if all communities and all nations had a basic policy to always put things back where they found them, cleaned up their own messes, and if each individual would share his or her own expertise in order to solve society's problems. And always remember, it is still true, no matter how old you are, that when you go out into the world, it is best to hold hands and stick together. Regardless of whether or not all of our peers share the same priorities and values with regard to what worlds are crucial for us to explore, each and every one of us, by the virtues and opportunities that we have been given in our lives, only beginning with the extremely outstanding education we've received at Beverly Hills High, have the responsibility to pursue the paths that we believe can best help us contribute to our world's fight. As John Wooden, the famed UCLA basketball coach, once said, "Success is a peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing you did your best to become the best you are capable of becoming." Thank you.
Eagles belong where they can fly. I've got to be where my spirit can run free. Not by my corner of the sky, of the sky.
As principal, I have the honor to present our platform guests. However, before I do that, I do want to pay special tribute to the staff members of our school who are seated in the audience. To my left, to your right. I would like to thank them for their special efforts and outstanding contributions which have made all of this possible. Would you please join me in applauding them? Seated in their colorful robes are our department chairpersons, counselors, class sponsors, and administrators who have been privileged to work with this graduating class, truly an outstanding class. Would you join me in recognizing their special contributions to our school? Seated on the platform are also the members of our Board of Education who in these very difficult times provide the leadership required to maintain the quality of our educational program. I have seen week after week their commitment, dedication, and tireless efforts on behalf of our school district and students. I'd like to introduce them. Please don't applaud. Let's applaud at the end as a group. Mrs. Betty Wilson, President. Mr. Mark Eggerman, immediate past president. Mr. Fred Stern, vice president. Mrs. Dana Tomarkin, and Mr. Frank Fenton. Now, before we proceed with our ceremony, I would like to recognize just briefly 4 people who have given outstanding service to Beverly Hills High School. 2 of our staff members are retiring, Marie Glasser, a member of our Foreign Language Department, and Ed Smith, a member of our Science Department. These are people who have given invaluable instruction and service to the students who are graduating. Would you join me in thanking them for a job well done? And there are 2 people, additionally, that I would like to thank. A wonderful lady who, for the first time since I've come to Beverly Hills High School, is not sitting here on the platform next to me. Person with whom I've worked most closely, and a wonderful, wonderful lady. I know many of you know her. We are sad at her retiring, but happy for her. Would you join me in recognizing Ruth Friedman? Finally, Dr. Leon Lessinger, our superintendent of schools, has announced his retirement. An outstanding educator, a tireless worker. Please join me in expressing our deepest appreciation for his dedication and commitment to the education of our students. Dr. Leon Lessinger. There is always something very special about the beauty and splendor of a graduation processional. Somehow or other, it makes the heart beat faster and the mind dig very deeply into the memory bank. After all, high school graduation has got to be one of those very, very special moments in our lives. Graduation blends the world of the intellect with a continuing need for self-fulfillment. And only with a bonding of those twin forces, intellect and self-fulfillment, will this class successfully, as is their graduation theme, explore the worlds that await them. This fusion between the mind and the desire to achieve the very best for oneself is not new. It has very deep roots in the history of our country. Stephen, in his speech, made allusion to one of those moments in the history of our country. September 16th, 1987, will mark the bicentennial of the handiwork of our founding fathers, the writing of our Constitution. For 16 weeks, 55 delegates forged a document that has no parallel in the history of mankind. George Washington, James Madison, Benjamin Franklin, Alexander Hamilton, these were giants in their day and would be so in our day. They were men of intellect with a probing, inquiring mind. Locke, Montesquieu, Voltaire, and Rousseau were no strangers to them. They were students of philosophy and of politics, but most importantly, they understood with the greatest of clarity the nature of man. And I use the word man in its most generic sense. They exalted in and used their intellects. Their familiarity with the philosophers of the age of reason became the epoxy binding in perpetuity the fabric of the Constitution that they wrote. These delegates, meeting in secret, clashed, they argued, they debated, and in the end, they compromised, always with one central goal in mind: to form a more perfect union and I underscore this, to promote the common welfare. These men were not just scholars. They were men of means, they were men of wealth and property, who acted with a unique mix of realism and self-interest. There was an invisible hand blending their self-interest with a need to think of the common good. Certainly, this illustrates that self-interest, coupled with a concern for the welfare of others, can be a positive force. And in therein lies the applicability of the process by which our Constitution was written and this graduating class. There is that ever-present need to couple the intellect, what we know and what we understand, with care, concern, and sensitivity for others. This class has earned distinction in many fields. Many are first-rate scholars whose intellect has prospered these 4 years. And I challenge this class, if they are indeed to explore new worlds, to follow the principles established by our founding fathers. The story is told that behind the desk of the president of the convention, who happened to be George Washington, there was a picture of a rising sun. And throughout the debates, aging Benjamin Franklin continually pondered a question: was it a rising or was it a setting sun? And only when the document was completed did he clearly see, in his words, a rising sun. For Benjamin Franklin, the symbolism was obvious. For me, as I view this graduating class, I see the symbolism with great clarity. The impressive credentials of this class make it abundantly clear that our graduates will serve themselves, their families, their community, and their country with distinction. I have no doubt that they will do so with knowledge, understanding, and compassion. Certainly, the sun is rising for these graduates. To our graduates and their parents, I congratulate you and wish you happiness, health, and self-fulfillment. And now, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the entire staff of the high school, I present to you the graduating class of 1987. Well, they certainly have a lot of exuberance. Mrs. Wilson, you are the representative of the governing board of this school district. The members of the class have fulfilled their requirements as prescribed by the state of California and the Board of Education. And I recommend that they be granted diplomas of graduation. Mrs. Wilson.
It is with great pleasure that I stand before you today on behalf of the Beverly Hills Board of Education as a participant in today's graduation ceremony. Today is especially meaningful to me because both my children and I graduated from Beverly. I would like to share with you some of my remembrances as a parent and those of my children as graduates. As a parent, there is a sense of seeing one's child recognized as an adult. The sense of a relationship developing as if between equals, and yet the certainty that the love of parent for child will remain. There is a sense of absence in the house, new rhythms beginning. The commensurate gains in closet space and independence do not make up for the void in one's life. There is a sense of getting older. There is excitement and pride that the child you have nurtured and loved and educated is ready to become an independent person, coupled with the fear that you will no longer be needed. Above all, there is the hope that you have done your job well enough so that your child will be successful and his exploration of the new worlds ahead of him will be successful and make a place for himself. As a graduate, there is the thrill of freedom, the sense of getting out from parental control. The happiness of being on one's own is tied to the sadness of leaving old friends and familiar surroundings. There is a fear of change, facing the unknown, making the correct decisions, meeting expectations, choosing a life path. There are so many choices, which college, which major, where to live, and yet there is always the certainty that one will survive and prevail. This day of graduation marks the completion of one cycle and the beginning of another. We here today are members of a long line of families that have departed from Beverly and gone on to meet the challenge of letting go and moving on. As graduates, you are embarked upon the road to maturity. You can take the low road, making all the safe decisions, or you can take the high road and dare to risk. Taking risk does bring with it the possibility of failure, but the only sure way of failing is not to try. Trying new experiences in the positive sense leads to becoming a stronger person. My charge to you today is that you take the high road and that you be bold. The world out there is waiting for you. Attack it, test it, learn from it, and above all, enjoy it. I want to congratulate all of you and wish you good luck in what lies ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilson. And now we will have the roll call of the graduates by our counseling staff, assisted by all of the members of our Board of Education.
Great. Samantha, Janet, Beagle.
Claudia Camara Maciera,
Robert Ian Benvenisti.
David Bean Laughlin,
Felicia Ruby Bell.
Renee Jacqueline Lewis,
Alex Mark Berenson.
Stacy Suzanne Liu,
Melissa Don Bernhardt.
Fan John Lin,
Joel Sander Berkowitz.
Maria Antoinette Lockhart,
Elizabeth Ellen Barris.
Albert Liang,
Avadora Berlin.
Paige Suzanne Lipman,
Marcy Ann Bieber.
Merrill Dana Lipman,
Alan David Berman.
Miguel Leva,
Susie M. Bishan.
Gail Michelle Leiker,
Beth Mandy Bittman.
Charles Simon Levy,
Daniel Harris Berman.
Matthew Samuel Levinson,
Diana Nicole Blank.
Alyssa J. Levine,
Julie Elizabeth Blank.
Gregory Levine,
Russell Bennett Berman.
Kamala Courtney Lerner,
Abra K. Blessinger.
Todd Mitchell Levin,
David Mark Bernstein.
Jody Eden Lenke,
Stephanie Petra Bloomberg.
Edward Scott Lehan,
Shabab Binafard.
Lena Stephanie Leitman,
Tiffany Rachel Bourne.
Pasha Lonsford,
Kelly Dina Boris.
Cynthia Rose Levy,
Philip John Bloom.
Jennifer Claire Litton,
April Lynn Burdoff.
Robbie Clinton Murchison,
J. Martin Gore.
Michelle Elaine Mosier,
David William Berman.
Manaz Magan,
Gita Amar.
Stephen David Lotwan,
Christine Gomez Aregulo.
Stephanie Ann Megan,
Scott William Bennett.
Matthew Yacht Lowencrown,
Stephen Michael Bronte.
Ilana Maman,
Pascal Abrar.
Joshua Morris Lux,
Ronique Tamar Abramoff.
Angela Marie Mandel,
Lynn Michelle Adler.
Holly Marande,
David Lawrence Albert.
Garrett Lungen,
Brian David Alexander.
Mojgan Magzar Hariari,
Tasha Avani.
Manuel Francisco Maldonado,
Christopher David Andrews.
Ashley Meredith Mason Johns,
Jamie Karen Alexander.
Martin Gary Marcus,
Abraham Cohen Ashkenazi.
Sandy Mathalon,
Negan Amir Mortari.
David Gary Markowitz,
Lloyd Fernandez Avery II.
Teresa Ann Mayer,
Rebecca Sharon Anretter.
Anthony David Mayorkas,
John Colton Berry.
Roxana Lisa McClendon,
Ricarda Marie Appling.
John Gray McCormick IV,
Anthony Stewart Bihar.
Kimberly S. McPherson,
Frederica Carlota Avancola.
Heather Jean McShann,
Judith Bear.
Carrie Michael Meadow,
Afshin Benia.
Nadia Michael,
Vivian Burrell.
Brian Charles Monet,
Mark Samuel Bender.
Gina Christine Martinez,
Monica Marie Batts.
Babek Najifazel,
Tracy McKee Bennett.
Danny Henry Mason,
Catherine Sarah Bifaran.
Alejandra Patricia Loreza,
John Admati.
Abraham Nolive,
Todd I. Bockenheimer.
Jody Leanne Nankin,
Lindsay Stanton Bishop.
Takako Nagumo,
Edith Bellsberg.
Michael Sanford David Moss,
James Wayne Banks.
Shauna Sura Nagler,
Gary Beth Brandspitzer.
Alexander Murati,
Brandon Alper Bougeot.
Benaz Nabati,
Lauren Jane Branwin.
John David Mora,
Alexander Evan Bogner.
Courtney Myers,
Brad P. Boot.
Andra Marie Mueller,
Lisa Brown.
Enrico
Melissa.
Mark Montano,
Melissa Marie Brown.
Sharon Montavassal,
Malcolm Lawrence Borlengi.
Justin Michael Mendez,
Ruthie Ann Brownfield.
Shizuko Morishita,
Theodore Jason Bro.
Jeffrey Mendez.
Leslie Allison Bunnage.
Seema Mohammedian.
Michael Anthony Brownstein.
Peter Craig Miller.
Annalisa Sufan Birch.
Hedia Miramati.
Anthony Grant Bryan.
Linda Renee Miller.
Andrea Celine Berger.
Anthony Michael.
Troy James Bygrave.
Jordana Louisa Miller.
Stacy Arlene Weiss.
Robert Allen Messman. Dahlia Mikhail.
Sharona Ibrahimian.
Mark Evan Merritt.
Eric Douglas Dubin.
Juliana McHale.
Richard Michael Ehrlich.
Gary Sigmund Melnick.
Elena Diane Eller.
Marco Antonio Asisas de Souza Mello.
Batya Orit Elul.
Randy Lee Michelle.
Benapsha Shustari.
Sharon Nazarian.
Leslie Cara Elkin.
Jonathan Andrew Nathan.
Andrew Brian Ernstein.
Sheila Nasi.
Kim Nicole Eggerman.
Adamo Mikhail Kendrick Palladino.
Jung Yung Choi.
Madeline Victoria Hoffman.
Cindy Puawani Chun.
Monica Lynn Holmes.
Joyce J. Chung.
David Shin Hong.
Lawrence Allen Creary.
Story Holt.
Candy Linda Cohen.
Katerina Heron Hong.
Carrie Lynn Cohen.
Boaz Hopenstan.
Walter Wilson Krim III.
Sonia Min Hong.
Kimberly Cook.
Laura Rose Hornwood.
Daniel Victor Kroll.
Jason Samuel Horwich.
Stephanie Lynn Cooper.
Farnaz Imani.
Tori Nicole Cravens.
Miroslava Infante.
Cameron McCartan Davis.
Alireza Jovieta.
Dahlia Desiree Cruz Piedra Santa.
Raquel Lynn Jaffe.
Jason Farrell Davis.
Rochelle Marie Johnson.
Mila Joy Cutler.
David Neil Howard.
Jan Guts DeJoes.
Kelly Johnson.
Christy Danielle Daniels.
David Huang.
Jamie Ann DeVore.
Mako Kamitsuma.
Joshua Jacob D. Donato.
Joanna Victoria Candel.
Felisa Suzanne Doran.
Patrick David Javahari.
Aram Dobalian.
Meredith Lee Kaplan.
Renee Felicia Dorn.
Michael Kachko.
Rena Dorf.
Carol Michelle Karimi.
Chen Kwong Dong.
Ann Carlin. Guillermo Khan.
Jadaman Douglas.
Anna Joelle Kasha.
Pejman Ibrahimi.
Kelly Yun Kim.
Justin Paul Dreyfus.
Gina Hyun Kim.
Janie Ibrahimian.
P. Jeong Kim.
Young Teen Chu.
Wilson Kim.
Justin Eric Conlon.
Firoze Karami.
Ya Lin Chen.
Karen Akiko Kawaguchi.
Daniel Hill Comden.
Danny Torsandi.
Ariane Chantel Rappaport.
Nicole Kavner.
Jeffrey Lewis Cohen.
Melissa Joyce Kaufman.
Lily Ling Chai Chang.
Stephen Martin Kane.
Payman Cohen.
Jennifer Beth Kaufman.
Angel Min Chan.
Kurosh Kave.
Richard Scott Chisiver.
Deborah Sue Kaufman.
Michelle Alexis Cezanne.
Rad Aaron Kessler.
Vincent Ming Chang.
Marina Kruper.
Dustin Marvin Cohen.
Jacob Tai Katsube.
Dariush Shariri.
Lena Suzanne Kasky.
Howard Paul Fleischer.
Daniel Elliott Katz.
Danny Raymond Cardenas.
David Ballon Kaufman.
Mitchell Cohen.
Stacy Lee Katz.
James Shan Chin.
Clay Evan Kastner.
Sang Chul Cha.
Lisa Michelle Katz.
Mitchell Ian Carlin.
Alan Michael Catan.
Catherine Ann Caulfield.
Amit Kashanian.
Mark Adam Cantor.
Catherine Katzen.
Leslie Diane Carroll.
Paul Max Kov.
David Ira Spector.
Ilanit Katri.
Robin Michelle Spencer.
Blake Todd Kimbrough.
Matthew Joseph Spellman.
Stephanie Lynn Kubotsu.
Joshua Bennett Sims.
David Matthew Koskoff.
Lincoln J. Sneed.
Justine Jagoda.
Jonathan Craig Saul.
Jason Andrew Lamarca.
Christian Dante Spiota.
Urim Kim.
Hazel Simon.
Jason Hain Kleideski.
Joseph Maxwell Scheimer.
Juliet Lynn Knapp.
Laurel Nicole Spellman.
William Joseph Koch.
Eric Warren Singer.
Sheila Kordestani.
Tracy Song.
Gregory David Conzer.
Valerie Ann Sobel.
Jennifer Bryn Krieger.
David Isaac Rahim Simantov.
Eric Lee Capo.
Wendy Lynn Southard.
Jonah Evan Kuttner.
Corey Ian Spound.
Michael John Katz.
Howard Allen Shapiro.
Andrew Michael Katz.
Jennifer Silver.
Michael J. Cantor.
Demetri Constantine Thomas.
Dana Michelle Lambert.
Mark Tristan Sater.
Lori Tamara Lawrence.
Pamela Ann Sterling.
Serge David Lassery.
David Allen Skates.
Leslie Simone Lasner.
Tara S. Stevenson.
James Sukho Lee.
Patricia Shin.
Sandra Lee.
Stanley Harry Silver Jr.
Wuchthai Lee La Lakanuko.
Sora Shim.
Alan J. Stern.
Adam Baird Silver.
Kim Marie Stern.
Kimberly Shepard.
John Michael Cerno.
Tamar Shamir.
Nina Renee Stern.
Nusha Shahidi.
Michael William Taft.
Sanjay Singh Sidhu.
Heidi Joe Stoltz.
Lori Ann Siegler.
David Sean Teller.
Arturo Snyder.
Elisa Marie Tabora.
Ramsey Houston Salem.
Michael Cameron Tom.
Hadi Sabag Zadeh.
Keiko Takahashi.
David Solomon Ari Sanders.
Grayson Randolph Towler.
Suzanne Renee Schwartz.
Tina Naomi Tamura.
Jennifer Saginor.
Michelle Astrid Thompson.
Philip Fei Chung Shea.
Sarah Jean Tomasi.
Heather Jill Schaefer.
Adam Triger.
Nilofar Savis.
Nicole R. Triplett.
Jonathan Andrew Schwartz.
George Seng.
Marjane Sasunian.
An T. Truong.
Neda Saraf Kashani.
Leonardo Umansky.
Jeffrey Randall Schaffler.
Aaron Michelle Touch.
Regina Tablan Santos.
Edwin Francisco Valencia.
Philip Dennis Sidlow.
Stacy Rebecca Tushin.
Susanna Lee Salen.
Theodore Harris Vandernoot.
Anacelia Saldivar.
Kent David Wakeford.
Gregory Joshua Sachs.
Portia Jean Turner.
Nazli Safai Kia.
Stavi Tizanis.
Michael Howard Rosenmeyer.
Todd Michael Walco.
Laila Sabet Imani.
Rose Elizabeth Vallejo.
Margaret Elizabeth Rubin,
Jason Joseph Wallace,
Michelle Ann Gold,
Victoria Lee Vaughn,
Amy Elizabeth Goldstein,
Alexander Thomas Wallace,
Fred Galante,
Desiree Vaziri,
Mari Harada,
Tasha Michelle Visconti,
Weston Howard Gorin,
Jason Barnett Tomarkin,
Dina Elizabeth Greenswag,
Sarah Jane Viden,
Sam Gabay,
Ahmad Tafreshi,
Joanne Hirsch,
Joanna Lynn Stone,
Scott Franklin Geller,
David E. Wash,
Julie Teresa Heimler,
Kevin David Weissman,
Kin Wah Ha,
Lena Wald,
Hillary Ruth Hellman,
Charles Martin Williams,
Joseph Charles Hibbett,
Jennifer Wallace,
Stephanie Lynn Hassan,
Anthony J. Winston,
Amy Laura Hamilton,
Amy Eva Walpert,
Shirley Lynn Hakon,
Michael Y. Rashtian,
Orly Hahami,
Cynthia Ellen Wanatik,
Jennifer Ann Harmon,
Tony S. Yu,
Julie Benita Goodman,
Leanne Waslian,
Sean Michael Charles Hendler,
Darius Leon Ewan,
Michael Maurice Franco,
Lisa Michelle Wispel,
Howard Philip Heller,
Peter Sang Jun Yum,
Scott Lewis Friedman,
Nicole Michelle White,
Camilla Grozian,
John Chi Wai Young, Lori Ann Whitlock,
Corey Adam Freundel,
Zachary Elias Zeidler,
Lisa Carolyn Green,
Victoria Odette Wilheim,
Victoria Jan Goodman,
Arcadia Travis Williams,
Hillary Drew Greenbaum,
Ronald Daniel Zlotalo,
Lorna Alexis Govan,
Valerie K. Winston,
James Thomas Harp,
Brandy Lee Wright,
Deanna Tracy Gordon,
David Jonathan Watts,
Christopher Edward Harding,
Tom Young,
Jessica Dawn Goodman,
Craig Nolan Zaretsky,
Nardine Gopalvaran,
Mayron Zoka,
Jennifer Ann Grinnell,
Helen Shi Yun Wu,
Melissa Tammy Goldberg,
Hale Yazdanpana,
Alan Gary Glazer,
Hyan Soo Yoon,
Nicholas Newfield Grad,
Barry Matthew Zorman,
Jody Michelle Gallant,
Stacy Hale Young,
Gary Scott Gorin,
Michelle Carey Ziskind,
Brooke Meredith Glassman,
Gail Heather Paston,
Sheila Elian Gatan,
Chad Scott Nellis,
Jeffrey David Gordon,
Alexander Nimani,
Mirnaz Ghaffari,
Laura Robin Nevsky,
Michelle Gadir,
Eric Marcus Nashanian,
Christian Lionel Gordon,
Lara Nikolaevsky,
Heather Eileen Gerber,
Stanley Clark Parvin II,
David Germazian,
Louisa Christina Norsa,
Allison Lee Geller,
Richard J. Ringer,
Adina Elizabeth Fry,
Joseph Lee Rogers,
Lorenza Adriana Garcia,
Luis Neve,
Max Gorelnik,
Tuan An Nguyen,
David Jerome Gussman,
Saba Nosrati,
Jason Brandt Gerchikoff,
Payam Nikravesh,
Melissa Hatfield,
James Nivatpamin,
Claudia Galindo,
Dana Alexandria Orlikoff,
Israel Gamliel,
Lance Gordon Oxner,
Jane Trang Fu,
Suzanne Gabrielle Osman,
Dory Maureen Freund,
Pedram Omefard,
Kathleen Lynn Fouts,
Christina Therese Osmina,
Chris Carl Fury,
Theotis Nikotifich,
Melinda
Orloff,
Lee Fogel,
Tanaz Nurafshan,
Lisa Eileen Gussman,
Paige Ellen Patman,
Mirdad Farjad,
Greg Allen Ostro,
Paul John Haper,
Craig Stephen Palmer,
Muhammad Hirmand,
Jeanette Marie Pauley,
Andrea Annie Elizabeth Garay,
Tony Sang Park,
Kim Elizabeth Ferguson,
Baram Brian Paya,
Brian James Faley,
Laura Michelle Pep,
Iram Jamil Faridi,
Christian Moore Pepard,
Marjan Fard Gassemi,
Laura Joy Porat,
David Lawrence Corwin,
Eric Lee Pines,
Frida Dueck,
Payman Kernizar,
Karen Elizabeth Fisher,
Jessica Pura,
Matthew Charles Flom,
Richard Allen Pisante,
Mara Lynn Furman,
Scott Ian Rogue Pollock,
Patrick Samuel Fischler,
Elham Pumarati,
Stephen Arnold Fisher,
Mark Kevin Raymer,
Leslie Ann Feynman,
Lisa Michelle Pressman,
Travis Lane Fine,
Alexander Carl Rappaport,
Shazad Fatimi,
Michael Ryan Roberts,
Teddy Lewis Fern,
Richard Joseph Redlick Jr.,
Shadok Fatimi,
Arthur Duran Reed,
Jason Stephen Feld,
Vanda Antonietta Puhalovich,
Matthew Scott Feinstein,
Michael Elliott Resnick,
Jennifer Lee Factor,
Sue Jean Payan,
Adam Peter Feinberg,
Adam Daniel Redsky,
Azadeh Eshragi,
Kelly Patricia Quinn,
Adam Irving Fine,
Glenn Revivo,
Susan Rochelle Epstein,
Sidney Grant Richland,
Justin William Pfeffer,
Gabriella Miriam Rabin,
Jesse Jesus Estrada,
Brian David Roberts,
Leah Nicole Embry,
Darian Patrick Henning,
Minor de Jesus Escobar,
Rain Pryor,
Dean Edward Shapiro,
Charles Mark Zellen,
Michelle Louise Raffle,
Ralph Aaron Novak,
Joshua Scott Milrad,
Nicole Laura Dubin,
Marnie Nicole Lewis,
Kamala Janine Rhodes,
Matthew High Brenner,
James Harold Robinson,
Corinne DeCou Keating,
Jennifer Dina Rose,
Cameron David Silver,
Joshua Blair Rogers,
Monica Lynn Doby,
Erin Suzanne Rosen,
Darren Scott Reimer,
Virgil San Juan Romero,
Jason Gregory Richmond,
Kathy Eileen Rosenbaum,
Eileen Suzanne Keys,
Joseph Scott Rosen,
Timothy Hiroshi Endo,
Sharon Beth Rosenbaum,
Elena Michelle Bloom,
David A. Rosenman,
Gabriel Nicholas Anthony Bologna,
Beth Lynn Rosenberg,
Danny Laura Adrian Charles,
Sharam Roshan,
Kenji Lyle Witherspoon, Wilkerson,
Melissa Ann Roth,
Victoria Y. Chang,
David Mark Ross,
Bradley Glenn Schreiberg,
Michelle Dana Rubin,
Rolanda Loretta Thurman,
Deborah Lynn Rubens,
Wendy Carol Shapiro,
Kimberly Rucker,
Corey Allen Garrett,
Gregory Dennis Roth,
Nancy McCune Kim,
Beth Alicia Rudnick,
Lawrence Merrill First,
Joshua Ellis Rudin,
Ni Young Kim,
Stephanie Ann Sapper,
William Allen Hosack,
David Malcolm Roth,
Anthony Ely Gluck,
Christy Suzanne White,
Teresa Ann Heron,
Evan Todd Silver,
Jordan Mark Fishman,
Eric David Feigenbaum,
Parissa Golestani, Chris Dawson, Gary Samuel Brown. Elizabeth Minnie Stensland. Stephen Mark Foonberg. Wendy Ellen Brokaw.
So here we are, the Beverly Hills High School class of 1987. We have spent 4 years here together, learning, growing, competing, loving, and yes, suffering. Now it is time to rejoice, and time to look to the future and leave this world we call Beverly. We are all explorers, discovering new worlds and charting them out to form the maps of our lives. These maps of life have just left off with the landmark of graduation from the world of high school. The blank paper of the future lies ahead. Hopefully, our maps will lead to our greatest hopes and dreams. But we cannot simply follow the flow of the map. We must draw it for ourselves. And we cannot be reluctant to strive and reach out for our sought-after landmarks. Because everything lies within our grasp. We know, because we are the class of 1987. We have performed above and beyond all expectations in the classroom, on the athletic field, in the theater and studio, all because we reached out and worked hard to attain our goals. Right now, our maps lead to a hopefully relaxing summer, and then to the new world of college. An enlightening world of questioning, a sunless world of studying, a swampy world of cafeteria food, and a mountainous world of dirty laundry. For others, the world of employment lies ahead. Whatever the case may be, it is a totally different world outside our sheltered Beverly Hills. It is a world where we will be on our own and responsible for our decisions. The map of life will be difficult to read, but we sitting here before you today have an advantage. Outstanding education. An education is a legend to the map. A map's legend tells you things like north from south and an interstate from a river. The legend will reveal to us the direction we are traveling and aid us in finding the highway when we find ourselves up a creek. It is because this legend, the education we have received here, stands beyond all comparison. Let us hope that our educators and community leaders can work together to maintain this outstanding education for the graduates of the future. So, seniors, when we're out there in the world fulfilling our dreams and reaching the landmarks of success, consult the legend, and let's remember that little school, the beginning we all have in common on our maps, and who we all are together. The Beverly Hills High School class of '87. Team up. Does it work? Please join us in singing the alma mater. It's in the back of the program.
Thank you.